Hey, Jeremy. Hello, Nico, Kelvin.
Morning.
Morning. Okay, guys, welcome to this training with us, Property Wealth Creation. So for the next 3 days, we're going to bring you through this journey of consultative selling. In preeminent, of course, some of the industry, they call it assets progression, or they call it assets whatever. But in preeminent our culture, we think it's all about property wealth creation. That means creating wealth for ourselves, for our customer through property, right? And of course through property investment, selling and buying. So that's why the strategies involved are very important. So if you realize today, it's a little bit of a different selling environment, right? Let me just see through today who is in our class. Yes, trainer, come, you also see who is in our class. Okay, wow, we have a lot of mixture of new and experienced agent. Again, why are you sign up for this course today? Why are you here today, right? It's probably because you can fill in this extra knowledge or this missing strategy or concept that is in your sales career to make it even more up to date for today, right? So like I said, today is more of a consultative selling. Why is it so? So ever heard people say, hey, Nico, don't be a buy, sell, rent agent anymore?
From you.
From who? From me? No lah, from everyone. Hey, don't be a buy, sell, rent agent anymore. Then don't buy, don't sell, don't rent, and do what? I mean, Nico, are you a buy, sell, rent agent?
Yes.
Yes.
Still have to do lah. Still have to do.
Yeah. But what's wrong with that?
Passive. Very passive.
Passive. Yes. Okay. It's passive. Yes. No. Kelvin, are you there, Kelvin?
Yeah.
You wearing not wearing shirt?
Hey, give me a while. Sorry.
Give you a while. Okay, you got to comb your hair first. Give you a while. Yeah. So buy, sell, rent to me is like our very day-to-day job, right? So it's like when a circle of influence, a friend of yours, like for us guys, maybe our camp mates. For Nico, maybe it's your uni mate that suddenly call you because you always appear to be in the real estate industry, or you put up an advertisement, a stranger call you, hey, I want to sell my house. Then you go down to your usual presentation, or maybe you were putting up an advertisement, a buyer came and you reserve the buyer or the tenant. So this is your very typical buy, sell, rent. But I want each and every one of you to ask yourself, in this year 2020, or rather maybe in 2019, of all the income you have made for that year, how much of this income come from a buy, sell, rent? It means example of what I said earlier on. And then how much income from the total come from transactions where the person has no intention. You went to look for the person, or you happen to be with that person at a party or at any gathering, or you met that person, then you pitch this idea of a property transaction to that person so that the person eventually change the person's assets class or property assets class to even lower or higher grade, or more or less, because of your consultative work. You know what I'm talking about, right? Nico, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Dude, I mean, I don't know. When did any one of you, like even Jeremy, Kelvin, or Nico, when was the last time if such a deal happened, if you can share? I mean, 有没有?
Recently, some of my, it's more my customer. I'm telling my rental clients.
Yes.
To their kids actually. So some of my rental clients, the kids are about they're quite young, but we already.
Their children. When you say kids, we thought it's like, wow.
Oh, sorry, no, that's like
Their children.
their next generations. So we actually, because of all this kind of concept, so we will start talking to them a little bit more. I mean, not for themselves because they're already not that stage anymore. So we're talking to their children because some of the children are.
So is this wealth creation? Is this buy, sell, rent, or is this pitching?
I think it's more on educating.
Yeah, I mean,
Giving them a new concept.
to me, if you pitch the parents to help you, it's called pitching.
Oh no, I'm talking about this younger generation are helping their elder parents to actually manage the properties. So I think to
restructure for them because they pass over only.
Something like that. Then the younger generations and they themselves haven't buy anything yet.
Correct. So they don't know what to do. This is a good example. All right. So there is Singapore. There is a lot of people who parent pass property to them. So whether do they still continue to stay? Like example, thanks Nico for bringing out this case. So recently I had this friend. The parent passed a 6,000 square feet bungalow to him. He's only 20 over years old, but the bungalow raining will drip water one. Because the bungalow is like 40 over years old, single story, like patches of plaster the ceiling so you won't drip water kind. So my friend has no knowledge about. He's quite nuala, plus he is just no concept of money one. So he inherited a bungalow, so he decided just to stay there until the house collapsed. So you say, oh, then you rebuild the house, but he got no money to rebuild home. So what can we do? So to me, there is a lot of consultative work that is needed in today's market, right? So maybe just now, Nico, you're sharing, finish yet? Okay, Kelvin, anything from your side that you have recently regarding wealth creation?
My side, recently after circuit breaker, of course, I closed one case view at Kismis, and I closed another case at Treasure at Tampines. Actually, both are pretty much like wealth creation. Like view at Kismis, the parents, I'm actually serving them, all right, and they are actually going to buy their fourth property. Yeah, so
property.
But of course, end of the day, they never pay the ABSD because they buy under the son's name.
Is it under trust or the son is above 21?
The son is above 21. It's actually currently schooling in a university. So actually, I shared with them, even though your son is schooling without any income, you can actually purchase and then you can still take a loan.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's how. Yeah, and the other thing is that for Treasure wise is, the lady is single, so still probably another 5 more years before she can actually purchase a BTO, or rather a resale HDB. Then I share with him, hey, why should you want to consider HDB that kind? So end day, she's convinced. So basically, she went ahead to make the purchase. Into a private property instead of waiting for 5 years, then go and buy a resale HDB.
Okay, so I guess there's a lot of skill sets needed to be able to do this role. This skill set will really be the very kind of calculations skill sets, right? And tools that you need to know how to use besides pitch. Right, you can see you need to have a concept, and then you need to know how to pitch to people, and then eventually you need to know how to do the calculations and use the tools to show the presentation to the consumer, to the prospects before we can get them going. All right. So Jeremy, do you have any story to share with us?
I think interesting during this CB period. People, we will try to get people to accumulate their wealth to grow richer. But we also remember during this pandemic, there are people who actually need to reposition their assets because of this downturn, right? So then the business affected. So I've actually clients who they have residential, commercial, industrial properties on hand. So in order to reposition, we actually restudy all their assets on hand and see which one itself is more viable to hold on to, which one that we can actually help them to offload, or also creating new business for ourselves. Reposition in such a way that we take away their lowest, potential returns property and
one that don't make money. The
exactly to reposition. So in fact, from a losing opportunity cost property they have now they are actually so-called reposition and making money. So and then better returns. So after studying this, you going through this difficult time with them, they actually get closer with you.
Yeah, I think Jeremy, you just reminded me a couple of days ago. Can I share this?
Sure.
I mean everyone here has insurance, right? I mean sure. So likewise, I have a whole portfolio of insurance for myself, for my daughters, for my wife, my whole my Lim family portfolio is with this insurance agent. So she is called Joanna. She's quite funny lah. She's quite cute. She really bothers to contact me because first she formed a chat group with my family. Like okay, my family is only me and my wife and her lah. So every month, right, she will tell us something like talk to us lah inside the chat group. Then she'll always ask, "Hey, Kevin, can I visit you?" So she always finds excuse lah. So this time the excuse is, "Hey, I want to see your new house." So she's like a friend kind of, when we know her for so long already. So she came over. So eventually she pulled out the spreadsheet, the Excel spreadsheet of all my insurance. Then she say, "Hey, you see, you're paying this insurance. Every month you're paying $300. Okay, but the insurance I didn't buy from her. I buy from Manulife, someone else. So she say, "Hey, this insurance already paid for the last 10 years, and you break even plus make profit. Can I suggest that you kill this insurance, and then the $300 that you're paying now, I put into another similar product that will give you more coverage." You're not. She also trying to give me insurance wealth creation. Then she asked me, "You know why or not, Kevin? Can you see there's a pitch? I don't know, maybe her upline teach her one or don't know lah. Can you see there's a pitch? You know what's the pitch? Come ready, For example, now I'm talking to Kelvin Chen. Kelvin, 10 over years ago, people focus on buying insurance for critical illness, like when you going like stage 3 cancer, going to die already. But today, people no longer do that. People buy insurance for early stage of discovery, which wasn't in demand 10 years ago. So the insurer also changed the way they run their programs. So that's why it's timely for you to switch from this, blah, 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 blah. So basically, what she's trying to do, she's trying to take the $300 from another agent's pocket, in a way, to her pocket by providing me a pitch that, it's not wrong ma. 讲真的, you listen already, will you think, 对哦? That means I pay 300, now I continue to pay 300, but she give me a bigger coverage and a more up-to-date coverage. And that old insurance, I didn't lose money, I still make money. Because it's already break even because of the investment, things like that. So what I'm trying to say is, guys, today really as a salesperson, whether we are selling property or insurance, right? Or even cars, I don't know, right? I sound like a salesperson. The dynamics of consumer needs, the dynamics of the real situation. What is real situation? It really last time people don't focus on early stage. People focus on like death. But today people actually, death is no problem, So it's the early stage of discovery. So is it to us as consumer, then now do you all feel it's important that I have a good insurance agent? To me, to be honest, your insurance agent call you and do this. So to me, there is a difference between agents. And this is the reason why you guys are here today. Because we all don't want to be the old school agent anymore. But of course, lah, like I say, buy, sell, rent. I'm your cammate. Hey, Jeremy, I got one bungalow want to sell lah. Hey, Kelvin, I am your ex-schoolmate. I want to buy the treasures at Tampines. Then song sang men, just close lah. I mean, of course, you know what I mean. So I have nothing wrong with that, right? So, still continue to do your buy, sell, rent. But evaluate into, number one, your income come from which part? Number two, do you want to be an updated version of a real estate agent? Do you think you owe your clients, like my angel owe me a right that I will continue use her as my family consultation, that she is really adding value to me. So very simple. Friday she's coming to let me sign the new policy already. Close already. Because you see, it makes sense. There's no need to don't close. So now back to here, it's really, really about this role. Trust me. Let me share my own story. I have a primary school friend, 1980, same age as me. Husband, wife, 1980. Yeah. Who here 1980? Okay. My friend called me one fine day. Hey, Kevin, can you help me rent out my HDB 5-room flat? I said, okay. Then my agent said, walao, boss, you game peng you $1,000 over HDB le pun zo. I said, no. I game peng, yes. So I went down to that coffee shop. I met up with them. Hey, sis, why you want to rent out your HDB flat? Oh, we bought this as our matrimonial home, fully paid already. So now I want to move to my mother's house so that we can rent out this HDB, and then our rental income of 1,008 is our cash flow. Wow, to me, brilliant plan. I mean, sometimes you don't have a good friend to give you good idea, really high ceiling. So again, I suspect my friend is very conservative. They are not so risk taker. They want to live really way beyond their means lah. Husband and wife both make at least a combined income of about 20,000. Own a 5-room HDB flat that is already sitting on profit because by 10 over years ago, my age, in the early 20s, then they are renting it out and depreciating the HDB flat. So of course, I must be able to prove that holding on to this old HDB flat that will be older is a depreciating asset. It is useless to have the cash flow of 1,008 versus losing out on the whole actual sum. And then not making use of today and when they are 39, 40 years old with the good income to go and leverage money, other people's money, OPM, right, from a bank and jointly buy properties that give them 100% value to their names. You know what I'm talking about, right? So cut the story short, in the end, she was quite reluctant because there's a lot of fear, but I give a lot of case study, I give a lot of consultation, I give a lot of confidence. I show them a lot of my other clients that I did the same thing. Eventually, cut the story short, we rented HDB flat at 1,008, right? Then we also sold the HDB flat and I made a 2% comp. And then 2 names bought 2 investment property. Better still, continue stay at your mother's house, even better. Because if they don't want to stay at the mother house, I can only buy one and one own stay. Now, good, continue stay. If there is room there, you don't mind. Really, isn't it better? Go and stay. But buy 2 investment property that is of 2 very good engine so that you put in your hard-earned money and then make your money work hard enough for you. I told them, we only know how to work hard for our money. I said, it's time your money work hard for you. Wow, she wake up. Oh, right? So there's a lot of power phrases like this. There is a pitch. There is proper calculation. There is tools that we need to present it to people, right? And there is concept. So these are all what is all about in property wealth creation, like what Jeremy has mentioned, Kelvin has mentioned, Nico has mentioned, right? Or how I mentioned, right? So I'm happy that you guys took the trouble and took the effort to come here to learn from us. And I'm also very thankful that Nico took her very busy schedule out. She is like really crazy, round the clock, busy woman. And of course, Jeremy has a lot of appointment as well, and Kelvin has to still look after his treasures at Tampines, which is offering insane commission to agents, right? That's why it's like hot cakes, a hot seller, right? To be here for the next 3 days, and of course together with Richard, which is tie up at the moment, right? To Richard Eng, all of us to come here and share with you these 3 days how you can learn, or even if you know how you can even fine tune it, right, and reprogram this whole idea of a property wealth creation. And importantly, Nico, why is so important? Importantly, what? Kelvin, importantly, what? This is very important. Importantly, for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
you see, my insurance agent so kiang, teach Kevin how to king, but then her own insurance is in a mess. Then it's not very justice to her, right? So same thing. Are you not human? Are you not Singaporean? Are you not like SPR? The property wealth creation can happen to you. Why you so only work hard for your money through sales and team building? You can also make money through property wealth creation for yourself. If you are staying in the HDB flat now, all right, no fault with that, no fault with that, but what is your next move? What is your vision? What are you going to do about it? If you're staying in an old condo now, what are you going to do about it? Is your concept just, 算了啦，这么麻烦? Let me tell you, then you'll never be able to convince your client. Because the best way is lead by example. Maybe now cannot, next year can, next year cannot, 5 years later can, 10 years later can. You must always have a vision. You cannot just, 麻烦, troublesome, difficult, cannot one. Then you'll never be able to go in. Even if you can, there's no soul. It's just blindly doing. Okay? So importantly, guys, property wealth creation has helped me, myself, right? I've taken the journey together. Yes, it's not easy, right? Kelvin also have taken the journey, right? Nico or Jeremy, we each all have our own story, right? That's why they are the best trainer in these 3 days, right? And really, thank you very much, guys, for being willing to come back here again to empower our agents in Preeminent Group so that we will be different, and Preeminent Group will always be at the forefront. And wealth creation, we just want to spread to all our agents so that it's a collective group effort to have this concept together, and you are not alone. Everybody is doing wealth creation for themselves, for their family members, for their loved ones, for their friends, for their client. And we don't just sit there and just be a buy, sell, rent agent. We are of value. We go out and we pitch people and we change their life around. I mean, do I change my primary school friend life? I think I changed her life, right? I mean, I make her work harder lah. I mean, she got 2 property now, blah, 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 blah. But she see this like, wow, why didn't I know it earlier? Because not everyone is like us, is in real estate line. Okay, so for the good of ourselves, our family, and our clients, and to make ourselves stay relevant, make sure we are not being easily replaced, and to play the updated consultative role, all right, property wealth creation is really, really the key. Right, with that, I've come to my opening speech, and I thought this is a very good thing that I want to say to everybody from my bottom of my heart. Okay, and our next trainer will be Nico, will be spending some time with you, and followed by Kelvin, and then we have Richard, and we have then Jeremy, and then Alex will come in again. Okay, Ken? Good. All right, Nico, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Morning. Okay. All right. Thank you, Kevin, and for the introduction and how we're going to bring this new skill set and mindset to everyone. Okay, in Premium Group. All right. Can everyone okay? Can you hear me? Can you put a 1 in the chat to confirm that you can hear me clearly? All right, thank you. Okay, can. All right, so I'll be taking up the first sessions of this property wealth creations. And this is stage 1, which is probably dealing with the younger group of people, the first timer. All right. Okay. So we have three stages, as mentioned. There are people who is below 30 years old. We categorize them in this way, but of course, there are people who are above 30 years old, but they are still in the first stage sometimes. Okay. So we don't identify really clearly by saying that okay, under 30 strictly, but it's more on like what they really need, and we approach them accordingly. All right. So Kelvin will be taking care of the stage 2 in the afternoon, and then of course for the higher level one where the wealth preservation stage, right, will be under Jeremy, okay, in the next 2 days. Okay, so for myself, we will be looking at how to deal with people who haven't owned their first property before. I would say, like what should they be choosing to do? And most of the time, a lot of okay, maybe just share with you what are the concepts that we usually have. For example, today I'm sure a lot of people, like what Kevin says, is more on we are buy sell rent agent, right? You will be, if today I tell you, okay, this project can is coming out, so everybody will chiong, to do the usual prospecting, right? Then if I tell you that, this area is very happening and you can do your GTA there, then everybody will again, do the traditional method and trying to find a new prospect there, right? Okay. So my question is that there is actually a very good potential group of people that is around you, okay, that is not cold leads, okay. A lot of time is actually network, your circle of influence, warm leads, okay. And if I tell you that they are potential buyer, okay, why are people not doing anything to this group of people? All right, so what I want to bring to your attention is this group of people that is around you, which is not cold lead, is warm lead, and they are potential buyer which you fear to discover, okay, fear to talk to, okay. And these are the objective of today's session, to discover this new way of prospecting. Okay, so at the end of the whole sessions, right? Okay, at the end of the whole sessions, right, I want you all to be able, okay, to encourage the younger people to own property as early as possible. Okay, so and doing them a favor lah, because most of the younger group of people, they are not being taught how to create wealth through property, how to make money through property. Okay, they will be very busy group of people who are going newly into the work market, work industry, and then they are striving, they are very busy, so they will have no time, okay, to actually engage in thinking of buying their property. They will think that this is not their priority or they cannot afford. Okay, so most of the time it's like that. But with our advice and our sharing to them, we should be able to let them know what are the options they have, and then make them stop and think, okay, of what they can do actually. And by giving them being that role to them, right, I'm pretty sure they will appreciate, even though they in the end cannot buy for any restrictions, or they know and they don't want to engage in these activities, it's fine also. It's more like sharing what is available, what kind of options these young cohorts can have. Okay, so today after this first stage, this session, right, you should be equipped with the knowledge to how to talk to them. Okay, and also to after you talk to them and this group of younger people, when they interested to find out more on what's the next step, okay, then it's your duty to actually help them to identify the right properties, okay, for wealth creations. Okay, there's a difference between wealth creations and other needs. For example, own stay. Okay, own stay objective is very, very different when you want to compare to creating wealth through buying properties. Okay, so the end point is very different. So you need to be very clear that we are trying to create wealth through property investment, not buying property for own stay. Okay, because that will be a very different criteria altogether. All right, and after knowing that, okay, how many people can I have a show of in the chat group, right? How many people is in this category like under 30? Can you put 2 if you are belongs to under 30 group of people? Wow, all above 30. There's no, okay, yes. 1, okay. Okay, okay. So there's not many. Okay, no problem. Or okay, or who did not own any properties? Can you also have put a 2? Do you have no properties under your name right now? You can put a 2 also. Okay, so not many. Okay, good. I mean, technically you are already engaged in owning a property is great. So those that is young and if you are agent yourself, right? You should start from yourself also. If you realize the potential of doing this thing early, okay? So now if you are the people who are listening right now, if you're under 30 years old and you do not own any properties right now, you have to think for yourself first, because you give advice to people because you see it yourself too, right? Okay, so I want you to understand for yourself, and then maybe have to start working on yourself so that you can engage in these wealth creations through properties kind of investment journey first, okay? Then you can understand the whole process better. Okay, next will be adopting. Okay, so we want you all to adopt a more proactive approach to our business, because everybody are doing the normal thing, waiting for things to happen, like waiting for their relative and friends to come to them when they need a place, right? Or also you also when you go and do the prospecting, right, you are actually approaching a cold leads, okay, trying to turn the cold leads into potential customers. Okay, so this approach is not wrong. Okay, you should continue doing this thing. It's just that there's this proactive approach that is to our own warm network that we are lacking of. Okay, so we are giving you one more important place for you to do your business, which is to talk to people who is around you. Okay, talk to even your customers, children and things like that that are belonging to this group and haven't do anything for their property portfolio yet. Okay, so find your first timer contact is one way to do this business, and this is much more proactive. Okay, and generate a higher income through helping younger cohort to invest in the property earlier. So you see, being a help to them, okay, to help them own property when they are in this younger stage, right? Also, again, come back to helping yourself to earn more income, because your customer base will increase, okay, by doing so. Okay, so I hope after today you will make this portion important prospecting activities that you will do every day. Okay, like New Year, right? Have you all gone to visiting? I know that there's only like 8% maximum this year, right? So, but nevertheless, I believe that y'all will go to some Chinese New Year gathering and things like that. One of my agent recently closed a momentum park, okay? And what he did was exactly what I'm telling you all today, because he met his cousin in the Chinese New Year gathering, and he actually tell him to, like, you can buy and start sharing with him exactly this kind of concept about owning a property as young as you can. Then they didn't know that they can own, and then they start calculating financial calculation, all this thing, and realize that actually he can buy. Okay, so and the guy the cousin got very excited, and then during the Chinese New Year, they already went to a show flat, and then they already bought a unit during Chinese New Year. Okay, that is because my agent share this concept with his own cousin during the Chinese New Year gathering. Okay, there's still some time for the Chinese New Year before it's over. So if you are meeting any of your friends, relatives, or this thing, right, you have to look out for people who belongs to this category, 20 something, 30 years old range, okay, not owning any property yet, okay, waiting to do the normal thing. Okay, so maybe things will happen. Okay, I'm very happy for him because he asked. Okay, the moment he asked, it increased a possibility. And remember, this is not something like selling something, some concept that is not useful to this person that you're talking to. It's in fact very important. Sharing my own experience, when I'm in this business, people who know me, I've been in the business for the past 18 years already. Okay, so like I mentioned to you, the early stage of your career, right? You will be very busy with your work, so you don't think so much for yourself. So myself, I'm in property business. I take order and I'm very busy during that time. No time to think about my own property portfolio. And at that time, nobody engaged in this concept and come and share with me like what Kevin did. Okay, so I do not have someone who come and talk to me and ask me to, hey, stop, Nicole. I think you have to think for yourself. Okay, and you have to do something for yourself now before it's too late. So I wasn't in that era that I was given this privilege that people will talk to me and share with me this concept. Okay, so so you ask me if that time somebody actually give me this concept, okay, and talk to me about putting money into property for the purpose of creating wealth and my first portfolio, I would have done so, okay, because I never got time to think for myself. I only really so busy with customers telling me helping these to buy the property or to sell the property. I don't have time. In fact, there is a couple of occasions when I sort of like start to think is because my own buyer, when I'm serving the buyer to buy something, right, ask me if I have bought something. That is the only time that actually I stop and say that, hey, yeah, I haven't. But the next moment I continue working again and I didn't do anything for myself, to be honest. So you ask me regret or no, I think that there is this regret there. Okay, so like I say, whether I can afford or not, it's not an issue. It's more like I did not stop and think. I also do not know how to think at that time. Okay, so be be helpful to your people around you, especially your warm needs, right? Your network. They may need a role like that to their life. Okay, they will need a role like this to their life. Tell them and share with them, like I say. Then maybe they really think that, hey, yeah, you are right also. Then they will engage in this journey and you will be the one assisting them to find their first property. Okay, so it's really very important. Don't think that you are like selling insurance or this thing. And then go and approach them like that, like very intruding, like very paiseh, that kind of thing. I don't think so, because you are really sharing with them a very important concept about property investment. Okay, all right. So understanding that, right? The question is that when people buy, when to buy for most people. Okay, by default way, right? By default way, we have to agree that if we are the younger generations, okay, again, so is when they get married, right? Okay, and the median age for first marriage for men is about 30 years old, for women is about 28. Okay, okay, so traditionally, people will only think of getting a house when they are thinking of getting married, okay? Or they may even plan ahead, trying to get BTO and things like that. So this is the so-called traditional mindset and traditional behavior, okay? All right, and next one is if you are not having a partner, so they will wait until they reach 35, okay? And they are still single, they will buy a HDB. All right, so again, that is a default style of when people start buying. Agree? Okay. So in general, what we're talking about is that most people will buy property only when they need, right? Only when they need. When they want to move out of the house, when they are still single at their age, or when they're getting married and they want their own place. Okay, so that is the biggest problem. Really, that is the biggest problem because they move by normal. Okay, so how to break this thing? Okay, is for us to start sharing. Okay, start sharing what? Okay, so when to buy, you have to design it. Okay, as early as you can. All right, I will share with you what you mean by as early as you can. As early when your, of course, income have met lah. Okay, as you can. If your income have met somehow the level, then you can start buying something. And also, you have to also share with them that you have to look at properties as a wealth creation tools instead of a house. Because by default, right, they will need the place to stay in. Then they will start looking. Then they will start finding you, okay, which is their cousin, their relative, their friends, their close friend, to help them find. Okay, so you have to wait for it to happen when they need. Okay, but actually you can own a property before you need to stay in. Okay, that is the best period actually, because you do not need to stay in the house, but you can buy it as an investment, whether to earn the capital appreciation or to buy and rent it out to get rental income during this period, because you do not need to stay in the house and you can buy anything you want actually. Okay, because if you need to stay in the house really for own stay requirements, then there is a lot of course criteria to put into your house purchase or your property purchase. Okay, but when you buy it as a wealth creation tools, right, what you need to be checking on is really about whether is it profitable to do so. Okay, all right, so we are trying to change the buying style, okay, from the default way when they need it, right, to owning a property as early as you can and looking at it as a wealth creation tools. Okay, so you need to understand this concept, because I need to change all your mindset, okay, to be talking about these things, and because you understand, so you will share it naturally. All right. Okay. Okay. Why? What's the reason for buying as early as you can? So this is how. Okay, I need you to understand and share with the people you talk to why they should consider. Okay. All right. Because when they are younger, most of the people will have lesser commitment, right? I mean, you still do not need to, like, take care of your aging parents yet. You will not have a family, your dependents, your kids yet, that kind of thing, when you're still at that early stage. Assuming of course there are people who actually start very early and they already have dependent at that age already. But I'm talking about the majority. Okay. Okay, because somehow I told you the marriage age is actually about 30 years old, 28, 30 years old. So it's the later part of this period. So what I'm talking about is that before you actually have this kind of family commitments, okay, and those kind of no choice one, that you will take care of your aging parents and things like that, right? And higher medical bills, etc., etc. Okay, so and you did not buy too many things, okay, and such that you have a lot of loan and installment, then that is where it's the best time for you to do something, okay, to start investing. And you also, because you are younger, so you can actually get a higher, like, because of the less commitment now, okay, you can actually get a higher loan quantum, okay, because you don't have a car loan yet, you don't have a like piling credit card bill yet, hopefully. All right, so I'm just assuming that the younger people will have lesser of such loans and commitments, so their loan quantum can be higher. Okay, when you get older, right, your income also increases. So when you have all this kind of commitment, all these things, right, it doesn't really affect you. But when you're young, it will affect you, because your loan amount is your income amount is not as high yet. So with increased other commitment, it will affect your loan for property. Okay, so let me just share with you this table. Okay, what I want to show in these tables, right, is just about why you should buy property first before you commit to other things in your life. Okay, why you should commit to buying a property first before, because your loan will be much more affected. Okay, how do I, you look at the first row, that is this 20 years old people with, at that time when you're younger, you're lower income, right, at 5,000, for example, at the age 28. But the next row, right, I'm talking about someone who is already older in their next stage, right, of life, about 35 years old. At that time, maybe the income is really reached about 10,000. So this is just illustrations. Okay, so when you're younger, if the first column, you see the so-called the middle column, you see car loan, zero. Let's say you don't buy car first, though there are no other financial obligation. But because you're young, you can still take 30 years
loan, okay, and your max loan, right, if you do not have any financial obligation, is 668,000. So having a 5,000 income, right, you actually have 668,000 loan maximum. But what if you decided to buy a car and engage in a car loan first? Then you see your situation to buy a property will definitely be affected. Okay, how affected? Okay, so if today you buy a car first before you get a property, you will have a $900 monthly installment. Okay, and because of that car loan monthly installment, your max loan, right, will be reduced to 467,000. Okay, 467,000. Okay, so based on the original 668, right, you realize that the reduction is about 201,000. Okay, 201K, and the percentage itself, right, is about 30% reduction. 30% reduction in your home loan if you buy a car first when you are young. Okay, next, the second row, right, I'm going to actually illustrate that the same situation. When you're older, if you do not have a car loan yet, the maximum loan, the year is still the same, because 30 or 28 or 35, 35 is the changing point, because anything more than 35 years old, your loan tenure will be lower. I will address this later. Okay, so the loan tenure is still the same, but the maximum loan obviously will increase because your income double. Okay, so it is about 1.336 mil if at that point of 35 years old you earn an income of about 10,000. Okay, so the next portion is that if at the age, right, you have a car loan of $900 per month, your maximum loan will be adjusted to 1.13 mil, 1.135 mil. Okay, so what does it mean is that it's still a reduction of the same loan amount of 201K, because your car loan is the same, 900,000, 900 per month. So 900 per month will result in a reduction of 201K in the property loan amount. Okay, but because your maximum loan is higher, because your income is higher, your maximum loan is higher, you realize that the 201K reductions, right, is only 15% of the original loan, amount. Okay, so what I'm trying to illustrate here is that if you are younger, you should buy property early first, because don't buy any car and everything yet. Just go to get your property first, because at that time you max your loan amount. Okay, on properties is better, because if you once you get some other loans, right, other commitments, your property loan amount you will get is 30% lower already in this illustration. Okay, as you grow older, you can get other loans, other car loan, all these things. You got other commitment, is fine, because it will reduce your maximum loan amount by much lesser. Okay, so in conclusion, we should advise people that, hey, you're still young, you don't buy car first, buy property first, because don't affect your maximum property loan amount. Okay, and interestingly, a lot of them can afford a loan, right, to buy a decent property, and they did not know. Okay, so okay, so this one is to also highlight that why as early as possible is because to get a longer loan tenure when you are younger. Okay, I will show you. Okay, obtain the maximum 30 years loan, because as you get older, these 30 years will be shortened. How does the effect of being shortened, right, affect a person? Okay, this is the graph to show, the table to show what are the difference. So basically, right, I'm just using a 1 million loan amount. Okay, nowadays the interest rate is lower, 1.3. I updated with the current market interest rate around there. Previously when I shared this slide is 1.8, right? The amount could be more. So nevertheless, you can see that actually the years is our main concern. The number of years that one person can take. So when you buy as early as you can secure a 30 years loan for sure. Okay, but when you get older, right, your number of years will diminish. So I show you the difference between 30 years and you diminish until 20 years loan. What is the effect on your the finances? Monthly installment you can see I already tabulate here at the second row. Okay, it's definitely increasing when your loan tenure shorten. Okay, when your loan tenure shorten, it becomes 4,700 plus per month. Okay, so and if your loan tenure is 30 years, it's only 3,300 plus. So you can see the difference here. It's almost almost $1,400 different per month. Okay, for if it's 22 years, 8 years of difference is about 1,000 and so forth. Okay, of course 2 years you won't see too much of difference, like about $200. But $200 to someone who is young and to your own income, right? Okay, depend on how much you earn. It could be a decent amount also, like 400, 700 like that. Okay, so you can see that as your tenure, loan tenure actually reduce, right? You will pay quite a huge amount difference every month. Okay, and you can even buy a car with this such a difference. Okay, all right, so definitely the younger you buy, the longer loan tenure you can take, the easier for you to finance every month. Okay, so this one is something you can explain to them. Okay, so interestingly, a lot of people, when I show this slide, right, they did not realize that someone of income 3,000, I mean 3,000 as a starting pay is quite normal, right? Okay, as you progress, you got 4,000, 5,000, up to 10,000. This table is showing you that someone, okay, who are 35 years old or below lah, okay, it can be 30 years old, 28 years old, whatever age, but this is up to 35 because I need to obtain a 30 years loan tenure to work out this. So I'm maximizing the 30 years loan tenure in these tables. All right. So every is based on 30 years loan. What are the maximum loan? So you can see that for a 3,000 income earner, their max loan is about almost 400,000. Okay, and the mandatory cash amount that they need is about 26,000, and CPF you need about 100,000, 106. Okay, buyer's stamp duty, and then what showing you here is that the maximum property price is 533. Okay, 533. This you can, that means somebody of earning $3,000, right? They can actually afford themselves a property of maximum amount of 533 with the loan amount. But of course, you must establish that they have at least about 100,000, 110,000, about 116 because buyer's stamp duty you have to cater in. Okay, so in the CPF, right, it's best that they will have at least about 120,000. Okay, and the cash amount about 27,000, 26 to 27,000. And this is not difficult to have if they have been working in the industry for at least about 3-4 years, 5 years. I think it's kind of easy, assuming that they are still earning 3,000, which I don't believe that the people's salary did not increase right over the past 3 to 5 years of working. All right, so I'm just assuming very prudent numbers for their money income, right? They can already afford something about 533,000. Okay, and their money installment is just 1439. Okay, it's very easily affordable, especially if they have CPF contributions to help. Okay, so realistically, right, we are talking about people who are working in this market, like 5-6 years easy, after their graduation or their NS, all these things, right? They should earn around 5,000. Okay, so if it's 5,000, their max loan is about 668 here. Okay, and they should have a saving of about 45,000 and almost about 200,000 CPF, hopefully. If not, you have more saving in cash, is okay. So after working about 5-6 years, right, if these person have been thrifty enough, right, it's possible that these numbers they have one, but they did not go and check their CPF account every other days, right? Or they didn't really look into their saving, how much they have. I mean, their saving they may know lah, because they withdraw money and everything, they will know. But they thought that the money cannot do much things because they do not know that actually for their income they can actually earn, they can actually loan this maximum loan amount. They did not know, you see. They did not know, then they will find that their own saving, which is 40,000-50,000, cannot do anything for properties one. Cannot one. Okay. And they also never check what's their CPF OA account in total. So they will not know one, okay, until somebody asks them, hey, you go and check lah. Actually, you check already, you'll be surprised, that kind of thing. And then they go and check. Then you find that, hey, actually, I didn't know that I got so much COA already. And then with their cash amount and their OA, right, they actually can do the down payment of 25% already, plus stamp duty even. So if their max amount of loan, of course, you got to do an IPA for them. And then they realize that you can actually, for 5,000 income, right, they may even buy something that is about 890,000, almost 900K. And you can buy a decent new launches with this. Okay, so of course, when their income get higher, the higher possibility that they can confirm afford something one. Okay, I'm talking about the cases whereby 3,000 to 5,000 or 6,000 range, right? They thought they cannot do much things one. They thought they cannot do much thing yet at that young age. Okay, so our role is to tell them, to ask them to check. Don't assume. Don't look at your bank account of the account like 40, 15,000 and assume you cannot do anything. Go and check first. Then I tell you what are the options that you can look into, okay, before it's too late, because you cannot turn back the young age anymore. You cannot turn back your 28 years old anymore, okay, 29, 30, you cannot turn back anymore. So better know what are the options early, okay? Okay, so another reasons for them to start as early as possible, right, is to clear their 3 years SSD earlier. Now we have SSD. In the past, of course, there's none, don't have such things. So seller stamp duty, if you clear 3 years, right, then you sell, you do not need to pay the extra cost to sell. And then if you already make money, okay, and we don't need to pay SSD, you can sell to get the capital appreciations, if there is any, of course. Okay, so the earlier you engage in a property purchase, you start your 3 years running as soon as possible already. And then of course you can move to stage 2 earlier, or it's in time for you to get married at that time already. So now if you are still a single person and then you are still working very hard, that kind of thing, and then not your plan for marriage is in another 3 years, 4 years or 5 years down the road. So buying something now without a consideration of in future going to buy for own stay kind of property, right? You can start now and then get something that is worth buying for, got profit potential one. Then clear your 3 years already, you can sell already by the time you wanted to get married and buy something bigger, for own stay, with your wife or with your husband. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so start earlier, you clear earlier your stage 1. And of course, something that is not so monetary is the prestige to own a property at a younger age. Okay, compared to owning a property when everyone else can own one. Get me? Like how many people that we know, okay, own a property or even private properties, at the age before 30. I mean, we know lah, okay. Most of them probably will, if they will own a HDB lah. Okay, my point is more on like, you will find it very amazing if you understand about this investment concept using property, and you are homeowner, you are a property owner, okay, at a young age, younger than 30 years old, okay. By the time most people goes to their age of 30 plus, people owning property is quite common now. Okay, there's no more prestige there. Okay, it's more on like, why you didn't own property, go the other way around. So starting early give you the kind of advantage, the prestige of owning something early, and why you can do so and then why they cannot when they compare, because they haven't talked to us yet on property wealth creations. Okay. All right, I hope you understand why we should buy as early as possible, and the possibility of buying as early as possible is not being explored by most people around us. Okay, so when they suddenly realize that, hey, actually, possible to buy, then next questions to you is what to buy. Okay, so we of course have different kind of properties in the market that they can afford with their income. Financial calculation, that they can afford up to certain loan amount and things like that. So BTO, of course, only applicable if they are getting married lah. Okay, resale HDB also applicable if they already married or getting married. Okay, so that is the very common property that people go after as their first property. But what about new project and resale condo? Okay, so there's also a difference between private property. We either go for a new project or you go for resale condo. So you will also advise them why new project or why resale condo to them. Okay, so landed property, I would say that for this stage one, right, most people probably cannot afford landed properties unless rich now, the parents supporting them. So I'm not going to touch on too much on landed properties. It's more on whether why not HDB, why private, and when talking about private, right, why new project and not resale condo. Okay, so these are things that you need to understand yourself before you can able to give your advice to this group of young generation. Okay, there's a script that you can start off by sharing. Okay, what's the script like? So you can talk to them, and when they sort of like want to know more about buying their first property, since their financial calculation come out to be a surprise to them, right? Then you can, okay, so they now wanted like ready and wanted to know what they can buy. So you can tell them that for new owners, new home buyers, okay, most of them will be very cautious. Okay, in fact, too cautious, and on what they buy. So since it's your first time buying a property, right? Your strategy will usually be to focus on what? Low entry price or low installment. Okay, so these are the general reactions of a first time buyer, right? Okay, there's nothing wrong. Okay, it's perfectly understandable. Okay, but that is actually a wrong strategy. Okay, instead of buying a cheapest property, okay, you should buy something, right, that will get you the most profit. Okay, you should focus on profit to help you contemplate, okay, when you sell. Okay, so we should not be looking at lowest price only or low installment. Of course, if it's a very profitable area, property with this kind of profit potential, right, and it's still low entry price or low installment, well, I mean, it's perfect, it's great, then you should not wait anymore. Okay, but if you have to choose, right, I would rather you choose something that have the most potential to make profit. Okay, you don't buy something for the sake of buying because it's cheap, it's low entry price, or your installment for that particular property will be low enough. But I think that is defeat the purpose, because we are supposed to make money through property investment. Okay, so we should be eyeing for the more profitable. Okay, just like buying share, you give them an example. Share is quite easy to understand. You don't go for the cheapest share cost, right? I mean, oh, this is very cheap, I buy in. No, you look at the potential of this share, right, will increase over the years, okay, and give you the most profit when you sell them, correct or not? So it's very straightforward when you talk about shares. You don't go for, oh, this one only 1 cent per share, and oh, very affordable, I buy. Why is 1 cent? Maybe you will become 0 cent the next time. So low entry doesn't mean anything to us, okay? So try to correct their concept. Okay, and we will also be looking at you can show them some graph on why private property versus HDB. Actually, these few graphs that I'm going to share with you shortly, right, will show you why go private and not HDB. Okay, so this graph is to show the last 27 years, right, the Singapore private properties price index. Okay, since 2013, which we know why the property market go down because of all the policies, TDSR and everything. So the whole market corrected during that time. So I think it's no, everyone should have seen this graph or know this kind of price index for quite familiar with all this graph already. But it's how you use it to explain to your clients. So since 2017, then the price has been steadily going up Okay, so 15th quarter, they actually reduced by 11.6%, but for the next 14th quarter till now, right, end of last year, it actually increased almost 15%. Okay, so you can see that for the private residential property price index, right, private properties as a product have more potential to rebound back, to recover, and then because it's more free market, okay, that people transact because of the demand and supply and everything, is more it's so-called less controlled like HDB lah, because HDB is our staple assets. So the governments are putting more rule and regulations towards buying HDB, and everybody can only own one HDB ma. But for private, they are, as long as you can afford, you can actually own more. So the prices are definitely easier to appreciate when it is time to. Okay, so this is the HDB price index for the same, okay, for the same period. You can see that obviously before the regulation is 2013, okay, everything is free market lah, even HDB, right? Wow, you can see the potential. But ever since 2013, right, all the policies come in, right? I'm not going to like repeat all these policies now. You have the notes later, you can just go and refresh the things again. Okay, I'm not interested in telling them what are the things that have controlled the HDB market, but everybody know that HDB has been highly controlled by the government in terms of their loan, their what I call it, the ownership and everything. PR, who is one of the major so-called ownership, right, for HDB, right, has also played down their ability to use HDB to probably invest, to rent it out, all these things. So all these policies came in 2013, right? You see how the whole HDB markets have reacted to it. The prices has been very stable, which is what the government wants. Of course, after circuit breaker last year, you see a little rebound in the unit, okay, in the HDB prices. In fact, now in HDB, we know that there is more and more lesser supply in the market, and once you get a HDB unit, right, it's quite easy to sell and sell above with some COV, right? But nevertheless, no matter how much COV we are getting from a HDB sales, it will not be comparable to a private increment in price. Okay, the COV, because the people who are affording a HDB, right, they have some cash what you call that, limitations. Okay, they are not super rich one. Okay, so every, like, 5,000s or 10,000s, right, actually are stretching themselves. So if they really like the house, they really don't mind paying 20,000 or even like maybe 30,000, right? Okay, that is probably somehow a maximum stretch. Unless a ex-private property owner come and buy, then they may distort the market a bit. But how many of them now? I mean, the en bloc craze has already been over. Even the en bloc craze over, at the time, it affect the market too much, if you see our graph. Okay, so no matter what, you see that since 2013, right, as a comparison to the price index in our previous slides, right, it's a downward, it's a straight, like, downward trend, okay, of minus 11.3%. All right, so if you go back to the previous slide again, you see that private properties market, right, have a potential of going up. Okay, so this is the interesting part that our first time buyer have to understand. Okay, why, if you buy a HDB flat, you will probably see lesser chance. I'm not saying that no chance, but lesser chance or lower quantum lead lah, okay, when they wanted to sell that time. So on the same combination, you can see, okay, the blue color line is the private price index, the private housing price index. The red line is the HDB resale price index. So you can see the difference of the upside if you put your money into this stock for private property stock and HDB stock. Which one will you put your money in? Okay. Okay, so if you also see that for the private landed price changes since 2013, right? This is by district, different district in Singapore, but they are all private properties price. So only a couple of locations have a reduction in the price. Okay, most of the places, most of the district, right, actually have price increase. Okay, so this give you more confidence to pick most of the areas in Singapore, their price in general went up okay. But for HDB, right, only a couple of places, right, with price increase. Most of the location have a a dip in the price since 2013. Okay, so even like, you know, wow, even Queenstown is also the price has actually a downward trend. Okay, so this is the difference between like picking a private property anywhere or picking a HDB property anywhere. So the chances again is just showing you that private property is still a safer buy if you are looking at capital appreciation, not for own stay. Own stay later we'll address to it, why own stay, why investment got different. Okay, all right, so that is to explain to your client, potential client, why go private is make more sense. Okay, so there are some example that you can always use because these are history that will not change. All right, we will use similar period, like Panorama in Ang Mo Kio, right? In the 2014 when someone buy a same property. Okay, so we look at the left side, so this 0824, they are bought at 587K, okay, in 2014. Okay, that's after the policy changes, right? Or the 2013 thereafter. So you look at what happened to this unit, right? When they sell 4 years later, apparently after the seller stamp duty, somebody sell the same property, which is a 1 bedroom likely, 431 square feet, right? For one bedroom property that they invested 5787 to they sell at 7354 4 years later, their profit is 148,000. Okay, if you choose to buy a 1 bedroom Panorama at the time. Okay, so on the right side, it shows somebody who actually buy a HDB. Okay, most of the time when you buy HDB, honestly speaking, own stay. Okay, with own stay mindset, they enter into a HDB flats at the time. So around about 2014, this one I extract the 2051, okay, that they actually put the money in about the same. Okay, this one is 587, right? About 592 or 570K, right? You bought a HDB flats, okay, and you waited again about 4 years or so. Okay, in 2019, the price is still 590K. Okay, so this is very consistent to the graph that we see just now. The HDB one, the price never changed. You see the straight line, okay? And on the left side is the private property, which went up. Okay, so this is a real life situation in the same location in Ang Mo Kio. Okay, so let's take a look at Bishan area, the Skyview new project at the time. If you invested, if you have about 900,000 plus, you buy these 678 square feet units, right, at 921, okay, in 2013, right after during the time of the price, the restriction coming in. So, and you hold up another 5 years later, of course, cross your SSD, and then at the time they sell the same unit at 1.288K. You can see the profit is actually 367,000. Okay, buying in a new launches. Okay, this is new launches, new sales. All right, so when they buy new sales time, they get from the developer at 921. Okay, so on the right side in the same area, Bishan HDB, okay, in 2013, when they buy about 790,000. So again, they hold up about 5 years, 6 years time. Then the sales price in that same area, same block, okay, 190 Bishan Street 13, okay, is still about 78 something, 790. So there is actually zero profit if you put your money in the HDB flats. So this is something that you should show example like this to your client. Why private and not HDB? And why new launches? Because new launches usually you'll get the best price from the developer and everybody buy from the same rates also. Okay, so people will not affect your prices subsequently when they sell, because everybody enter the developer price together about the same rate. Okay, so another example like Commonwealth Tower. Okay, at the time of new launch, that time, right, a 1 bedroom cost 773K. Again, this is a developer price. Okay, and if you hold about 4 years later in 2018 when you sell, it's 900,000. So the profit is also again more than 100,000, 127K in this case. Right side, we use a HDB to, if you have about the same amount, you go in to buy a HDB, then it's about 745, okay, in this same block 74A, Redhill, which is nearby. Okay, so you hold out about the same time, okay, about 4-5 years later, you sell, is again the same rate also. Okay, so not much profit to talk about. So we already shows quite a number of example. Same area, you buy HDB or you buy new launches, there is a good chance that you can earn. I'm saying good chance because I'm sure you can, your client or yourself can quote me example that doesn't make money. I agree. There will be definitely properties that doesn't make money. Okay, so but you have to, I mean, as what Kevin always say, right? It's not when you buy, okay? It's when you sell. So if it doesn't make money at the time, right? Then you may want to consider renting it out first and, you know, collect your rental income. And then when the time is right, then you sell. Because if you didn't sell yet, there's no, you didn't conclude your investment yet, ma. Okay, so it's about when you sell also, not just about when you buy. All right. So explain this to overcome these objections from customers, giving you example that, hey, no, my friend buy somewhere also new launches didn't make money, that kind of thing. But why did they want to sell so fast when they haven't made money? Yeah. So your investment strategy has to adjust a little bit if you haven't reached the capital appreciation first. Okay. So have to explain to them this way. Okay. All right. So common objections. Okay. So I know what most people will come back. Okay. So you need to prepare. As someone who want to propose this kind of new of property wealth creations to a younger group of people, I'm pretty sure a younger group of people will be very there's a lot of objections in their mind, okay, that you need to know how to prepare to answer them, okay. Like for example, they will say that, oh, if you compare the same amount, I can buy a bigger HDB flat with more rooms, bigger in size and things like that, right? Okay, and I can also take housing grant if I go for HDB. Okay, so these are the people who always feel that HDB is the property that they should buy first. Okay, nothing wrong with that concept because we are being brought up this way, parents always also do the same thing. Then we also think that this is the by default like property that I should be buying first. And it's true that HDB are so-called cheaper and they are bigger also. Okay, same price, I get bigger size, that kind of thing. And I need to get money from Akong, like the housing grant, all these things I must take first, that kind of thing. So if they think that they didn't take the housing grant, they lose out on things like that. So these are the common thing, nothing wrong, but we prepare to answer them also. Okay, so and also the funding issue, they think that they cannot fund it. Okay, they feel that it is definitely easier to fund a HDB flat, that kind of thing, than to fund a private new launch project. Okay, so we have things to counter this as well. Okay, so what else? Yeah, so generally I think what they will say is about mostly about HDB versus private, why they should skip HDB and go private directly. These are the main objections that will come in. So as an agent that know what is going on, you already should have answer for these four areas of objections. Okay, so now let's see how we overcome such objections. So HDB has more room, is bigger in size, all these things. Question is more on like, do we really need so many rooms? A lot of them, okay, like myself, we will want like a walk-in wardrobe. We want to get one room for study and things like that lah. Okay, so to be honest, do we really need so many rooms? You know, before that, when I was still staying with my mom, I have my room, one room to my own. Everything is in the room, including my study, so-called study corner, all my storage of documents, my TV, my own hi-fi set, home theater system. Everything is in one room. Okay, so everything can be contained in one room actually. Okay, but of course, when you move into a bigger place, then you start to put your things more at different compartment. But honestly speaking, when we are young and single, for example, you do not need so many rooms. Okay, if I give you one room, you also can stay in one by right. Okay, so it's more on. But now today, we are actually trying to put the money to investment to make money, not for own stay purpose. So they should not put the HDB flat size or the number of rooms as the priority to consider. Because if that is for people who purely really need for own stay, like they're getting married, the children is coming, all these things. Then okay, I can understand. For pure reason of own stay, these two objections is very legit. Okay, we should not counter them, because it's a truth that they need space for their newborns, their kids, their things like that. So yes, it is a legit objections, but not when it comes to property wealth creations. Okay, because when you are young, especially now we are talking about the stage one, remember, we're talking about the younger group of people. So this is the only time, right, that the young agents, the young homeowner, right, property owner, right, they can actually live in a smaller unit when they're young and single, or they're just a couple. Okay, they don't have kids, they can manage a smaller place one to stay in, if they are staying in after they buy the properties now. But you must understand that we are buying this as a property investment. We need to remind them about the profit thing again. Okay, remember, that's why we say that we don't buy a property because it is cheap, it's the cheapest or the lowest installment. We should be focusing that it can make money. Okay, likewise, when they come to start saying about the HDB is bigger space or more room, all these things, right, they are deviating from the profit part already. Okay, so you have to ask them to come back and relook into profit again. Okay, does HDB give you profit? Then you must remind them what we have shown just now, right? All the slides to show that HDB does not shows the kind of profitable price index and things like that compared to private. Okay, so bring them back to our objective. They will sway around when they realize that their income and their whatever saving, their CPF can actually start to buy the first property, right? They get very excited. But when they get excited at that time, they may deviate their thoughts to more needs for own stay. Then when you start to think that you want to buy for own stay, your objective all gone already. That means you no longer focus on the profit anymore. So bring them back again to ground that we are doing this because you want to make money through property investment. So let's get back to realistic. How to what are the property that's supposed to have the potential? And if you go and buy a HDB, you lose the reason already. Okay, and now you are still young, you can still go into a smaller unit in a private unit, so you can still go for own stay. If not, right, whatever you buy the smaller units in from the new sale market, right, you can also rent it out easier, because if you go for the smallest unit in the new launches, when it's TOP, it's also one of the cheapest to rent. So our market for rental, the cheapest, the lower budget people will be more than the higher budget people. So generally, it is still safe to get a smaller unit. For your own stay, you can still stay in. For investment wise, it's also easier to rent out, because it's more affordable to most of the tenant. Okay, so this is how you should explain to them and bring them back to their origin. Okay, so housing grant, of course, they still having on, but I will lose the housing grant. I mean, if I don't buy HDB, I won't get the housing grant. So let's look at it. What are the amount of housing grant we are talking about? Okay, usually apply for resale HDB, right? Single grant is about 7. Your income is up to 7.5 lah. So if this person you are talking to is a single, but they already earn 8 or 9,000 already, then don't talk about this grant anymore, because you will not have any grant. It's a good problem, because you are actually higher income earners, so you don't get a grant. It's a good thing I feel in general. Okay, you can earn back easy yourself. Okay, so you miss the single grant already, doesn't matter. Okay, and there's also enhanced CPF housing grant for lower income people, like income up to 4,500 lah. Okay, so the grant is about 40,000. So let's talk about single grant 25,000, or you have if your income are lower, you are talking about 40,000 lah. Okay, so if you are talking about grant, right? You are talking about buying HDB resale market, then you can get grant. Okay, so I hope you all know if you buy a BTO, there's no grant to talk about, because you're buying at the subsidized rate. Okay, so with the housing grant, right, the quantum, to be honest, is still high compared to the past. We will buy a resale market. Okay, because why they give you grant is because the government are helping you to bring down the resale market price a bit, so that it's more affordable to you. Okay, it's not free money because you enter the resale HDB market, you is at market price, it's not cheaper. But because the government give you this one to reduce the price to something more affordable for you, that's about it. Okay, so but the thing is the end day after the grant, right, the HDB resale market, the price is still actually high. And remember the graph I showed you earlier, the best part is that you enter at this price, right? Few years later, it's still about this price. If it didn't go down, right, it's a really good thing. But if it didn't, it stay put at the same price, right, you also do not have any gain out of this home ownership. Okay, so same HDB resale quantum can potentially buy a smaller private condos, right? So these options are probably better because of the upside of the private property market. There are more capital appreciation, okay, and potentially higher than the housing grant. We show a few examples just now. Confirm, we are talking about, for those example, confirm more than this grant that we are talking about, right? So yeah, and some more is a private property, like you own the private property, all these things. So back to those like prestige, all these things, you still come back as part of the total considerations. Why not HDB? Why go private? Even though it's a smaller private condo units. Okay. So I'm trying to explain to the fund few slide, I'm trying to explain to you about why not HDB if they're talking about all this granting talking about the size things okay. Then what about the funding issues? Okay, so people will say that, hey, for HDB, right, the down payment or minimum is 10% only. Okay, yeah, it's true, the minimum 10%, but if you have a lot of CPF, right, they will take away all your CPF also. Okay, so unless you're taking bank loan. But let's say about private property. So they have the concept of like private property is they will have problem funding all these things. So let's look at the sums for easy calculation. So let's say private down payment is 25%, right? If we look for one bedroom property that costs about 850K, there are a lot of options. Later I'll show you what are the options to recommend to your customers. 850K for a one bedroom private from developer. Down payment is about 212, okay, 0.5K. Then 5% in cash and 20 from CPF. Okay, so you need to prepare 212, okay, from cash and CPF. So cash amount is about 42,500. 20% will be in CPF, 170K. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty sure that most people who works for easy 5-6 years, all these things, right, this may not be an issue. So you need to check with your these potential customers whether do they have this amount in CPF and cash. So as an agent, what I want you to do is that you know that the entry price for a one bedroom new launches is about 850K plus minus. So we are talking about whether your client that you speak to, which is a young generation, the stage 1 young generation, do they have the 5% in cash, 42,500 around there, and 20%, which is about 170K in their CPF after working for that number of years. So if you these two amount they have, potentially they can buy. Understand? So I don't think there will be funding issue if you check these two things first. Okay? HDB, no matter how low is the minimum down payment, to be honest, like I say, ultimately, is it profitable? If it's not, then forget about it now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and good news is that new launches has progressive payment scheme. So you don't need that 25% immediate also. So have to understand that if you do not have the immediate, like 170K, but by the time another period later you may have, it can still works. Or some of them have deferred payment, so it depends on which project, huh? Some of them they may have still deferred payment, you don't need certain amount so quickly. Okay, now funding part, right? Also wanted to highlight to you about the loan tenure and the difference between private and HDB. So if they still not convinced about going private and not HDB, then ask them. Okay, I'm talking about, I use marriage couple here first. That means they are about 30 years old, they get married around the market age. Okay, so each earn 4,000. So if they're thinking of buying a HDB, then why not? Why you don't consider private? Because due to the loan tenure and the maximum loan. Okay, so this is a quick. I think Kelvin will talk more on this thing, but I just want to touch on, because there may be some customers that they are first time buyer, which will still think of like delaying their purchase until they are eligible to buy HDB. Okay, so this married couple is eligible to buy HDB, so they have a choice between private and HDB. But of course, loan tenure, right? Once you get private is 30 years maximum, but HDB is 25 years, no matter how, it's 25 years. And the maximum loan, right, for private, right, interestingly, if both parties only earn 4K each, they join together will be about 1.068 mil maximum loan, meaning that they can buy even up to more than 1.2 mil kind of properties at age 30, if they do not know. Okay, but for HDB, right, their maximum loan is only about 480 only, 479. So they can afford a lower quantum HDB actually. If they go private, they can actually afford much higher property price. Okay, so back to a single, single 35 or or even 30 or even 28, whatever, as long as the income, right, is 5,000. Okay, you can see the difference between the max loan and the loan tenure, also the same. Okay, there is also a difference. So going private, right, will unlock the opportunity of this individual. That's what I'm trying to share with you, these two sides. Okay, so whether it's a married couple, it's a single, I'm talking about going private will unlock your potential to get something bigger, and the loan wise, you can actually stretch your loan tenure longer, which bring you back to the attention of longer tenure will actually be more affordable every month for your installment. Okay, so it just all makes sense. Okay, so are you sure funding is an issue if you really see the potential upside? Okay, so it's the same thing like I tell you, like just now I show you a few example, right? That Panorama make money, Skyview make money, Commonwealth Tower make money. Okay, they are making money 100 over 1,000 one. Okay, so my question is that now go back to 2013, 2014. I tell you to buy Commonwealth Tower, for example. Okay, just a 1 bedroom. You know for sure make money, 4 years down the road, correct or not? So if I bring you back to 2013 to buy Commonwealth Tower, will you find fund? Will you just buy one? I mean, of course, if there's no restriction, will you ask your friends all to buy together or buy one unit, because you will, a few years later, you will have a capital appreciation of 100 over 1,000. Okay, so at the time, will you go and find fund? Will you go and like try to get money from maybe your parents, or find ways to get money, or even combine? I've known cases that younger people, they combine with their friends to buy. It means they combine fund, use one name, but they must of course trust each other. Okay, very good friends, all this thing. So they really try to buy something through gathering funds from their friends. If they don't have enough funds or enough cash, okay, then they buy a unit and then they split the earning, of course. So my point is that if you can for sure see that it will increase in the price for, let's say, Commonwealth Tower, will you go and find fund and invest or not? Okay, so this customer that we're talking about, right, they must understand that what are the potential upside. Then why they should go and find their fund now to make things happen for them. And like I said, there's no turning back. If you are 28 years old and 29 years old, it's only once in your lifetime. Okay, so do you want to try to make money through this kind of property investment? Okay, if yes, then you have to find ways. Okay, other perks, other than just talking about the pricing, the upside on capital appreciation and such, right? Okay, we are talking about buying a new launch now, apparently, because this is developer price. Okay, and the good part is that there's no or low renovation cost if you buy something brand new. If you buy a HDB, you have to go and pay money to renovate. Easily, if you want to renovate something really nice, we are talking about 100,000 easily or HDB renovation or a private resale condo is already, you still will renovate, and then there will be renovation costs. Okay, so you buy a new launches, everything is new, unlikely you need to spend much for new launches. Okay, so this HDB renovation about that. So there are also more selection of units you buy from new launches. Of course, if it's very popular, then by luck also lah. Not that you want to buy, you can get. So you must tell them it's like you don't think that you want to buy, you confirm get something, but you know, at least you try So more, but there will be more selection available rather than going for a HDB resale or private resale. There will be very limited number you need to choose from. It really depends on at that time who are selling, okay, and if that unit happen to be at a level or they're facing, no choice one, you got to decide, you know, that kind of thing. But at least for new launches, there are more opportunity for you to decide to select the right unit for, or the unit that you like best. Okay, and buying a private, you can sell earlier, okay, so anytime, or you can sell anytime if you don't mind the SSD. So you have more flexibility, not like buying a HDB, right? You lock yourself 5 years, you cannot sell. Okay, you can appeal, but you know, subject to HDB approval, may not be approved. Okay, but for private purchase, right, you can sell anytime if you don't mind the SSD. But let's say if not, you want to clear the SSD, it's also after 3 years compared to 5 years. It's still better and more flexible. Okay. All right. So what about the age of properties? Okay, we are talking about a 30, 40 years old HDB versus a brand new condos. So definitely, both, even if it's a 99 years, right, you have a longer lease to hold on to. You're buying something with a longer lease than something that's about 30 years old, 40 years old. Okay, so it still makes more sense to buy something new and which you can hold on for longer. Okay, and more lifestyle. Okay, definitely, if you buy a condo, you have a lot of facilities, ground, you know, that kind of thing, security, versus a HDB, you have a void deck and versus a common area for condos is different. Okay, and highest face value. All right, so definitely you own a private will give you more different status and everything. So as an agent, you buy it also, you will help you to increase your sales, because if you engage yourself in purchasing these private condos, right, then people will follow suits because even you yourself do it. Okay, so importantly, you must understand why you should do it. Okay, you understand why you perform it, then it's even easier for you to convince people around you that this is the right way to create wealth through properties. Okay, follow the same steps. Okay, so and definitely en bloc potential. When you're talking about a private versus a HDB, right? The kind of possibility for HDB to en bloc is lesser nowadays. Definitely much lesser. So and not predictable lah. For private, right, there is more possibility in the future. But if you're buying a new launches, en bloc will be much later. So you don't need to worry about that. But even if it happens in future and you're still holding the properties, right, definitely there will be more profitable to own a private and get en bloc. Okay, if it's not profitable, most people will not go for en bloc also. Okay. All right, so having said that, all the perks, means you overcome the objections we already predicted already, and then you also add on to them the perks, other perks that come with these decisions. Okay, that will round up your points better to your customer. Okay, so other than your objection is not the right thing concept, not the best concept, not saying right or wrong, but not the best concept if you are talking about wealth creations. But we on top of that give you some more perks. Okay. All right. So now what about now? The example shown was in the past. Okay, about buying the private new launches. Then we have chances to increase your property. Okay, portfolio. So you see now, what about the situation? We can tell that let's say for the latest launch, Nomental Park, right? Is 900 over thousand to get a 1 bedroom there. Okay, the nearby newer one, because we have to be fair now, try to find a newer HDB versus a private condo with new launches, because they are relatively new, brand new versus relatively new. The prices is actually over 1 million for the HDB flats in the location. This one is Commonwealth near Commonwealth MRT station. Okay, so it's one of the closest to Momentum Park. Okay, so one is private, one is HDB. Okay, so if somebody who have the budget to buy a 1 over millions HDB, then they should consider, because they are buying a resale price unless they can buy a BTO in the area. Okay, then confirm, I think BTO for HDB will earn money, but BTO only applicable to certain group of people only. Not everybody have the luxury of getting a BTO, but not all BTO again make money also. Certain locations that is not so popular, and not they didn't earn much as well. Okay, but of course these are prime locations. But now let's compare it the same way as like the Panorama, as the Skyview, as the Commonwealth Tower that time. Okay, so there is still potential. Instead of using the same amount to go for HDB, if they go for a private, yes, it's a 1 bedroom, but can you live with a 1 bedroom now? If the answer is actually can, then go for it, because there's other perks to overcome the size. Okay. Next will be the Windsor Grand. Okay. Also got very affordable 1 bedroom, about it's less than 900K here. Okay, but versus, okay, I'm trying to find resale HDB in the same area. To be honest, there isn't much HDB resale over this location, but the closest was West Coast Road area, and we see the highest transactions. There's not many units. You see the transactions for this area, right? There's no transactions, there's no supply. Okay, you want to buy also, probably nobody's selling. Okay, but if they sell, it's going to be very expensive. It's about 730,000 for a 40 years old HDB, 40 years old versus a brand new Windsor Grand. I think it's quite obvious 40% of the lease term gone already versus something that is brand new. Okay, so Florence residences versus Upper Serangoon area. So you can see also over there is slightly more than 800,000. You can actually get a 1 bedroom, enter the 1 bedroom condos, Florence residence, and then versus the Upper Serangoon area, the HDB, the newer ones, also about 700 plus thousand to get a HDB in the nearby location. So for the first time property owner, you want to buy something, you should consider private also, because it's actually not very unaffordable, right? After looking at the comparison. Okay, so Bukit Timah area, the Midwood new projects, even more affordable. Below 800,000, you can actually get get Midwood new projects 1 bedroom. Okay, versus the close by, there isn't too many HDB, but if there is any, again, you see the prices, it's about 800 plus 900,000 for the HDB in that location. That is also of certain age already. Okay, so a new condos, less than 800,000. Jovel, okay, you see, Jovel is also very cheap, 700 plus. So these are the below 800,000 one. For people who have customers, the income not the highest, but you, after working out the loan, right, they can loan and buy something that's about 800K, then these are the project to recommend them. So you can, Jovel is in the Pasir Ris area, so I compare with the newer HDB flats there, you see, also 770, 800 plus, it's more expensive some more. HDB, newer HDB in Pasir Ris is more expensive than 1 bedroom at Jovel. Okay, but that one is different status, going to the HDB and going into private condos. Other project to recommend, not many unit left already, so you have to be quick. Okay, like Treasure at Tampines, there's only one last unit of 1 bedroom. Okay, Verdell, okay, with 800 plus, less than 850. The Travel, also 2 more units left only. These are the last few units who are stock last. So if you have someone that you can talk to in mind, you should start talking to them and quickly, you know, act on it, because they are the last few season that we do this Property Wealth Creations, right? We did the same homework on the units and the prices. To be very honest, right? Last time, I get most of them I can get below 800,000 one. Now, a lot of them are above 800 already. And those units, those condos, right, they have those kind of 700 plus thousand entry units are all taken up already. Are all taken up already. I was checking, updating these before these sessions, right? I realized that, wow, also already. Whatever we recommended last round, okay, last sessions, okay, last training session, is all taken up. So be quick, because I think moving forward, the price will get higher, okay? And this group of younger people who have lesser things to buy, if the income are not high enough, let me put it this way. But there are people who can afford quite a number of projects now that you can work on, okay? So these are some of the projects that our premium groups, DDs, are handling. So you can go and check your ERA Pro, which is very easy, okay? Just search by below 850,000 or below 900K, then they will show you where it's available. It's very, very easy, okay? All right, so these are the recommendations currently. This is the updated one, like 2 days ago, 2 days ago, okay? So go ahead and check it out before all this so-called triple quantum new launch units are being stepped up, and even your friends or your relative decided to get something, they have nothing to get. So it's very wasted if they act too late, and then most of the good and cheap units are being taken. Okay, so with that, I think that's all for my portion. So I hope you have okay, so back to my objective, right? Okay, I hope you have understand our objective, right? To encourage the younger people to own the properties now as early as possible, with the reason why, and to choose the right property, okay? To choose the right property for wealth creation, remember, okay? Not for own stay, okay? Because they tend to easily shift from their objective of wealth creations, right? Start to have a lot of wish list for own stay, and this is quite common. So you need to correct them back to wealth creations. Okay, if they continue thinking, start to have wish list, wow, I want, since this money, I go HDB, I can get bigger, like, they start to imagine their dream home already, with the space. Then you have to bring them back, because if you go there, unlikely you will create wealth, okay? You will be a property owner. You have a property ownership at a young age, yes, but it doesn't create wealth. Is that what you want? Okay, so they will like, oh, okay, true. Then they will back to the right track. Okay, so this one is for you to manage their thoughts properly and bring them back again. It's wealth creation. It's nothing else. It's really nothing else. Cannot be more. Cannot be emotional one. Okay, must really be very focused on getting the properties that can help you create wealth the best way. Okay, and if you yourself understand what we are talking about here, look at your own situation also. You work on yourself first. If your situation is who we are talking about, then you have to start from yourself first, because otherwise you miss the boat also. Understand? Okay, so then now you know that this is a very potential way of sharing your concept with your people around you, right? Then you have to be more proactive and start to prospect instead of keep spending money to get the cold market leads, right? You are wasting some very potential warm market leads that's around you using this approach. Okay, that is the situation that we see a lot of our agents are missing out. Okay, so hopefully after using these prospecting methods and sharing the right concept of property wealth creations, you can generate more incomes with at least this younger cohort of people, and also actually really helping them. Okay, if you share with them and they don't want, it's okay really. But if I'm them, right, I will appreciate knowing it and decide for myself whether I want to do it or I don't want to do it. If they really not comfortable in putting their money or so-called engaging in a home loan now, that kind of thing, then never mind lah. But at least they know I don't think they will mind knowing more about their option that they have. Okay. So yeah, I think having said that, anyway, One of Eden is coming out. Okay, the project that I'm marketing, in charge of this One of Eden, there is very good potential because when they enter this this area, right, there are still few more sites that's coming out. So in terms of capital appreciation, it will be have a better chance. I'm not guarantee anything. I'm just saying that when there's still new sites coming out, right, then the potential site, you will probably get a lot of help from the new government land sales and new launch later on. Okay, so one of Eden is worth considering. Okay, but of course, some of the projects that I highlighted there just now will be good, but there are existing projects now. If they cannot find what they want, right, look out for the few subsequent new launches that's coming out. Okay, then they will have more choice and more price range, you know, there. So yeah, so if the balance project doesn't work, right, you have to bring these people to look for the next few new launches. Okay, so good luck everyone, and for that I end here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nico.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nico. Guys, we will resume class later at 1 p.m. sharp. You can go for your lunch right now, and we'll see you guys back here at 1 p.m. sharp. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.